Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you guys? Just a minute. Start करते हैं बस. अच्छा, I've uploaded the PDF. You guys can download it. It's not. Yeah, it has the marking scheme also. Let me just double check if it has the marking scheme. I think it does. But yeah, just make sure to download it from the link in description. Just a minute. मैं अभी अपने पास खोल लूँ, फिर start करते हैं. Walaikum assalam. Sir, I complete the paper in 1 hour 45 minutes at home. Is that fine? Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Just make sure that you check as you go along. You won't have time towards the end to check. I mean, there's no guarantee. I hope you do. I hope you have enough time towards the end to check, but there's no guarantee. Sir, is 62 out of 75 good? 62 out of 75 is... Yeah, it's a good score, but obviously the more the better. Okay, 60 plus is good, but the more the better, so that you have some margin in the other component. You have some margin in M1 and S1. To be on the safe side, it's best that you target 65 plus. That's what I would suggest. 65 plus to be on the safe side. What's A star overall for AS and A2? Depends on the threshold, but I can't tell you what's an A star. It depends on the threshold. If the paper is difficult, obviously the threshold's going to be lower. If the paper is easy, obviously the threshold's going to be higher. But you should aim for 65 plus in P1. You should aim for 40 plus in M1, S1, and also 65 plus in P3. Best. I mean, that's to be on the safe side. If that's the score that you're getting, then no threshold is ever going to be higher than 65 for an A. And although in M1, S1, sometimes the threshold is higher than 40. So if you can aim for 42 plus, that's fine. But the thing is, all this is irrelevant. We can all sit here and debate as to what we should aim for. But in reality, we already know the answer, that we should aim for as perfect a score as possible. So knowing what you should aim for is not going to make any difference. You're not going to do anything differently. Okay, if I tell you that you need to aim for 65, are you going to be like, oh, okay, if I need to aim for 65, this is what I'm going to do? No, you're not going to do that. Okay, you know that you have to aim for as many marks as possible. It's as simple as that. So it's an irrelevant debate, honestly. Okay, it's an irrelevant debate. Don't waste time. Jitna time hum ye debate karne mein laga rahe na, it's better that you use this time to study the actual syllabus, study the actual content. Simple as that. Yeah, so I'm thinking, so hopefully, inshallah, if everything goes well tomorrow, yeah, I repeat, yeah, because the threshold related questions I get every stream, every single stream, every time the exams are closed, I get this question, so it's perfectly all right. But if inshallah everything goes well tomorrow, I'm taking a live mock for O-level and IGCSE Math. Inshallah, I'm expecting things to go well tomorrow. So Tuesday, although I will announce, but Tuesday, inshallah, I will be taking a live mock for P1 also. Okay, so let's hope and pray, inshallah, everything goes well tomorrow. Anyway, so let's start. Enough talk. I would appreciate those of you who are watching, if you guys would just subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot. And also, if you haven't liked the stream, please do that. That would also mean a lot. Okay. How would the live mock work? Simple. So it's just like we have a live stream right now, except that I won't be teaching anything. I will share a link in the description. You guys can download the PDF from the link in description, complete the mock within 1 hour 50 minutes or 2 hours, 1 hour 50 minutes obviously. And then after 1 hour 50 minutes, we will discuss it also. Where to get these updates? Just make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and make sure that you have turned on your notifications. Okay, I will announce it on my channel, on my YouTube channel, as well as on Instagram. Okay. Now, So equation of circles. I will encourage you guys to download the notes if you haven't done that yet. The notes are available for free on the website mathletebysart.com. I'll just give you a sneak peek as to what they look like. Okay, they're available for free, no charges, no nothing. Just go on the website and download them. So it's coordinate geometry part 2, which is basically equation of circles. So here they are. Make sure to download them. Okay, inshallah, they will help you a lot. A lot of past paper questions, you can refer to the notes and solve them. So here's the very first question of equation of circles. This is from February-March, paper 12, February-March 2020. Yeah, community post. Also, I'll make a video on it, a video announcement also. So this says, a circle of C1, a diameter of a circle has endpoints so and so, find an equation of the circle C1. Now remember, if you can do working in columns, you can. There's nothing officially which says that you shouldn't do it, but just make sure, however you're working, just make sure that your working is presentable. Okay, so think of it this way. Imagine if you were the examiner, how would you like the copies that you're about to check to be? You'd like them neat, you'd like them organized, you'd like the work to be as simple as possible. So just keep that in mind. So with that in mind, you can work however way you want. Okay, so officially there's nothing wrong in working in columns. You can do that. Students have done it in the past and obviously they've gotten away with it. Now, find the equation of the circle C1. Now, what do we want? If you want to find out the equation of a circle, remember there are two things that you want. Just like if you want to find out the equation of a straight line, you want a gradient and a point through which the line is passing through. In the case of a circle, you want the coordinates of the center and you want the radius. Okay? So there is no harm in making a rough sketch. Okay? There is no harm in making a rough sketch. So -3, -5, and 7, 3. So you have a circle over here. That means -3, -5 will probably be somewhere over here, and 7, 3 will probably be somewhere over here. Now this is the diameter. These are the endpoints. So if you want to find out the circle, how will I do that? I will basically add the x coordinates, divide by 2, and I will add the y coordinates, divide by 2. Okay, so -3 plus 7, what's that equal to? That's equal to 4. 4 upon 2, that's equal to 2. -5 plus 3, that's equal to -2. -2 upon 2, that's equal to -1. Okay, so what do we have? We have found the coordinates of the center. Now what do we want? We can check this box. We can check the center box. Now the next thing you want is the radius. How do you find out the radius? If you have the coordinates of the center, remember making a rough sketch is something that will always help. So you found out the circle with centers C. If you want to find out the radius, you will find out the distance between the center and any point. Okay, you can use any point, or you can also find out the diameter and then in the end divide by 2. Okay, so no need to confuse yourself. Just do whatever makes the most sense to you or whatever occurs to you first. So I'm going to use this along with this point to find out the radius. Okay, so the radius would be equal to, and remember, you don't want r, you actually want r square. Why? Because the equation of a circle looks like this. It's x minus a the whole thing square plus y minus b the whole thing square is equals to r square. So r square, or r, is equal to square root of 7 minus 2 the whole thing square plus 3 minus -1 the whole thing square. 7 minus 2 is 5, square of which is 25. 3 minus -1 is 4, square of which is 16. So 25 plus 16, that's equal to 31, 41. So r is equals to root 41, which means r square is equals to 41. And that's it. We have x minus 2, the whole thing square, plus y minus -1, which will become y plus 1, the whole thing square, is equals to 41. Okay? So we have found the equation of the circle. Easy. Now, the circle C1 is translated by 8, 4 to give the circle C2. Find the equation of circle C2. Now, when you translate a point, what do you think will change? Will the radius change? Do you think the radius will change? What do you think will change? Question for you guys. Hey Saad, can you please tell me the name of the app that shows opening of the shapes? It's called Shapes. It's literally called Shapes. no, x and y coordinate. Basically, the center will change. Okay, so here's the center. What were the coordinates of the center? The coordinates of the center were 2, comma, minus 1. Okay, so the coordinates of the center were 2, comma, minus 1. 8, comma, 4 means that now it's going to move 8 units towards the right. Okay, so the x coordinate of the center will move 8 units towards the right. And the y coordinate of the center, not drawn to scale obviously, will move 4 units towards up. Okay, so that means the new center. Okay, so to find out the new center, here's what you have to do. You have to take the old center, which is 2 minus 1, and in it, add the column vector of the translation. So 2 plus 8, that's equal to 10, minus 1 plus 4, that's equal to 3. And what about the radius? Obviously, the radius remains the same. Okay, the radius obviously remains the same. So now the equation is x minus 10, the whole thing squared, plus y minus 3, the whole thing squared, is equals to 41. There you go. Okay, now let's see if there's another part. Okay, there is another part. The two circles intersect at points R and S. Show that the equation of the line RS is equal to minus 2x plus 13. Y is equals to minus 2x plus 13. Okay, so let's clear this up. Let's take a screenshot. Let's bring this back. Okay. Now, how do I do that? How do I show that the equation of the line RS is equals to minus 2x plus 13? Question for you guys. How do I show that the equation of the line RS is equal to minus 2x plus 13? Okay, what's your thought process? I'll give you guys a small hint. Okay, so here's a small hint. Can you mail the, sir, will you conduct a mock for, yeah, I will conduct a mock for ASP1 also, inshallah. So basically, if you're thinking that we find out the coefficient, if you're thinking that we find out the point of intersection by solving the two simultaneously, you could do that. Okay, you could do that, but that's going to be quite problematic actually. Okay, if you do that, it's going to get quite problematic. Okay, you'll have some really complicated equations to deal with. Ho jayega, okay, but it's going to be quite problematic. But here's something else. Okay, here's something else. What you can do is, remember, the equation of line RS, so RS is basically a chord, correct? RS will basically act as a chord for both the circles, okay? Now, if you remember circle properties, okay, if you remember circle properties, these two centers, okay, if I join them, we have a straight line, correct? And that means this line is going to be the perpendicular bisector of the two centers, okay? So the line in red is basically going to act as the perpendicular bisector of the line joining the two centers, okay? Why is that? Because of circle properties. Why? Remember, the rule is that a line that is perpendicular to the chord is basically the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so if you make a line perpendicular to the chord, then what happens is this line will cut the chord into half. Okay, and that's happening on both sides. And that is happening on both sides. So that means this line in red is basically the perpendicular bisector of the two centers. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. What is the coordinates of the circle of, what are the coordinates of the center of circle 1? That's basically 2 comma minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to call this center 1. And what about the center 2? Achha, if you're thinking of an alternative way, let's explore that. Let's explore the alternative way also. But first, let's do it like this. This is 10 comma 3. Now, let's find out the gradient. The gradient would be 3 minus minus 1 over 10 minus 2. So that means the gradient of the two centers when we join them with the help of a straight line is 4 upon 8, which is equal to 1 upon 2. Okay? That means the gradient of the line RS will be equal to what? Will be equal to minus 2. Now we want the point through which the line RS is passing. That point will basically be equal to what? That point will basically be equal to the midpoint. Okay, so we find out the midpoint. So how do we find out the midpoint? We add the two x coordinates, 2 plus 10 upon 2, comma, minus 1 plus 3 upon 2. Okay, let's simplify this. Let's see what we get. 2 plus 10 is 12, 12 upon 2 is 6, minus 1 plus 3 is 2, 2 upon 2 is 1. So we have the gradient, okay, and we have a point through which the line is passing. Now it's a matter of putting it all together and see if we do end up with the equation above. So y minus 1 is equals to minus 2 into x minus 6. Things look promising. Y minus 1 is equals to minus 2x plus 12. So y is equals to minus 2x plus 13. Yep, so we do get the correct answer. Okay? I not understand the perpendicular bisector thing. Okay, I'll explain that. So, iske liye, you need to have some strong circle property skills. Okay, I'll explain it. So first of all, let's look at RS. Okay, and I want you to just focus on one circle at a time. Okay, just focus on one circle at a time. So the center of circle 1 will be somewhere over here, correct? Now the rule is that if I draw a perpendicular line from the center, it will bisect the chord, correct? Now because this chord is common, so that means even if I draw a perpendicular line from circle C2, it will bisect the chord. ठीक है, तो technically हुआ क्या? Technically हुआ ये कि these two are equal in length, okay, and this is also equal in length. That basically means that what you have over here is a line that's passing through the center of the two centers of the circle and is also perpendicular to it. Okay, and if you think a few steps ahead, and if you join these points, okay, if you think a few steps ahead and you join these points, then technically what you end up with is a figure which has 4 equal sides. Okay, Acha, there's no point in debating whether it's a square or a rhombus. There's no point in debating that. What's important is that the diagonals will intersect at midpoint and they will be perpendicular. Okay, the diagonals intersect at midpoint and they will be perpendicular. Basically, that's the thing. Acha, now there is an alternative way. Okay, there is an alternative way also. Let's have a look at that. Let's see if we solve them simultaneously, do we get the correct answer or not? Okay, so let's explore an alternative way. So we have the two equations. Okay, so this is an alternative way. So we have the two equations. What are the two equations? Let's copy paste them. Here is one equation. Okay, so here we are. And we have another equation, which is right here. Let's see if we can solve them simultaneously. Okay, let's see. I'm not too sure, but let's see if we can solve them simultaneously. So they're both equal to 41. Okay, so that means we can equate them. Okay, so if I equate them, let's see if it simplifies to what we're given above. So we have x minus 2 the whole thing square plus y plus 1 the whole thing square is equals to x minus 10 the whole thing square plus y minus 3 the whole thing square. Why? Because they are both equal to, why are we doing this? We're doing this because they're both equal to 41. So we're just equating the two radii. So this becomes x square minus 4x plus 4 plus y square plus 2y plus 1 is equal to x square minus 20x plus 100 plus y square minus 6y plus 9. Okay, so x square cancel, y square cancels. So let's simplify on the left hand side. So on the left hand side we have minus 4x plus 2y, 4 plus 1, that's equal to 5. On the right hand side we have minus 20x minus 6y. And then we have 100 plus 9, so that's plus 109. So let's get all the y's on the left-hand side. Let's get all the x's on the right-hand side, because that's the way that we're supposed to give it. So if I get all the y's on the left-hand side, so that's going to be 8y. If I get all the x's on the right-hand side, so that's going to be minus 16x. Okay, then let's use a calculator. 109 minus 5, that's equal to 104. So plus 104. So we can divide both sides by 8. And if I do that, and if this is correct, we should end up with the equation above. Y is equals to minus 2x. 104 divided by 8, that's equal to 104 divided by 8, that's equal to 13. So we once again end up with the same answer. Okay? Anyway, now let's move on. Hence, show that the x coordinates of R and S satisfy the equation 5x squared plus 5x squared minus 60x plus 159. Okay. So how do I show that the x coordinates of R and S satisfy this equation? So we will solve simultaneously. Okay, now what will we solve simultaneously? We'll solve the equation of the circle, any one circle, with the equation of the straight line. Okay, because what's R and S? R and S are basically the points of intersection. So let's pick any one equation of the circle. It's up to you which one you pick. Why? Because the straight line is intersecting with both the circles, so you can pick any one equation. So let's pick this equation of the circle. And as far as the equation of the straight line is concerned, that remains the same. Let's solve them simultaneously. Since you want the x coordinate, so we're going to substitute y as it is. So we're going to substitute y. Let's see what happens. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 4. Plus, in place of y, we will have minus 2x plus 13 plus 1. The whole thing square equals to 41. Before we expand, let's simplify this a little. So what are we looking at? We're looking at x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 14 minus 2x. The whole thing square is equals to 41. Now let's expand. X squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to 196 minus 14 into 2 is 28. 28 times 2 is 56. Plus 4x squared minus 41 is equals to 0. So x squared plus 4x squared, that's 5x squared. Minus 4x minus 56x, that's minus 60x. Okay, now 196 plus 4, that's 200. 200 minus 41, that's positive 159 is equals to 0. This is what we were supposed to show, and we have done that. There you go. So, good question. What are your thoughts? Let me take your questions now. Sir, quick video marathon from sir, I'm averaging 60 NP1 yearlies. Is that good? After around 60 is not a bad score, but see if you can bring it up to 65. Okay, so keep solving past papers, see where you're losing marks, and see if you can bring it up to 65. मजा आया ना? अच्छा सवाल था. वैसे circles का, this was actually a fairly easy question. There are some very complicated questions that we're going to solve, inshallah, in today's class. You're welcome. Happy to do it. You can reciprocate my efforts by doing well in the exam, inshallah. Now, let's do another question. The coordinates of 2 points A and B are minus 7, 3. Just a minute. And 5, 11, respectively. Show that the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB is 3x plus 2y equals to 11. Now, because this is coordinate geometry, okay, red से mark क्यों नहीं किए? The thing is, आजकल time नहीं मिल रहा कि मैं questions को go through करके ना proper से उनको arrange करूँ. So I just compile, my team just compiles all the questions and they give it to me, and that's it. I just start the stream. So I'm not getting enough time to actually do all the fine details. But inshallah, next year I'll do that. The coordinates of 2 points, we're given that. We have to find out the equation of the perpendicular bisector. All right, let's find out the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So let's find out the gradient of AB. So that's 11 minus 3 over 5 minus minus 7. So 11 minus 3, that's 8. 5 minus minus 7, that's 12. So this is equal to 2 upon 3, which means that the gradient of the perpendicular bisector will be equal to minus 3 upon 2. Okay, now we want the point through which the perpendicular bisector is going to pass. So we find out the midpoint. Add the two x coordinates, divide by 2. add the two y coordinates, divide by 2. So minus 7 plus 5, that's minus 2. Minus 2 upon 2, that's minus 1. 3 plus 11, that's 14. 14 upon 2, that's 7. Okay, now let's put this together. Y minus 7 is equals to minus 3 upon 2 into x minus minus, which will become plus. So we cross multiply. 2y minus 14 is equals to minus 3x minus 3. Let's get all the terms to the left hand side. So 3x plus 2y equals to minus 3 plus 14, which is equal to 11. There you go. Namaz break, beta namaz break. We will take a namaz break जब maghrib होगी. Maghrib पे अभी 7 o'clock almost पे चली गई है. So I will take a namaz break as per namaz timings here. If I take a namaz break as per namaz timings around the world, then that's फिर तो हम break पे ही रहेंगे हमेशा. Okay, now let's do part B. Part B says a circle passes through A and B and its center lies on the line 12x minus 5y equals to 70. Find the equation of the circle. So it's always a good idea, remember, to make a rough sketch. Okay, minus 11, no, it won't be minus 11. Minus 3 plus 14, that's positive 11. And let's see, yep, that's what we are supposed to show. So if you try and do this question directly, we've read this time and again in the examiner report. Okay, a rough sketch is something that will give you a better perspective. Okay. Acha, who is this? Irtiaz beta, I hope you're trying to be funny and not being serious. Waise, either way, it's not working. But anyway, a circle passes through A and B and its center lies on the line. So A and B are basically the points that we were given above. Minus 7, 3, 5, 11. So minus 7, 3 means यहाँ पे कहीं पे, ठीक है? A very rough sketch, okay? A very rough sketch. And 5, 11 means somewhere towards the right. Okay, so we saw that A and B have a positive gradient, so that means they're somewhere over here. Now remember, by no means does this mean that A and B are basically the two endpoints of a diameter. They may be, they may not be. We don't know that. Okay, but this is basically what the situation is. And the question says that its center also lies on this line. Its center lies on the line 12x minus 5y is equals to 70. So that is basically, if I make y the subject over here, so 5y is equals to 12x minus 70. So that means it's an upward sloping line. So probably something like this. Now I have a question for you guys. How do you expect to find out the coordinates of the center of the circle? Okay, question for you guys. How do you expect to find out the coordinates of the center of the circle? With the given piece of information, how do you expect to find out? I haven't solved the question yet. Okay, I haven't solved this question yet. I'm asking you guys, how do you expect to find out the coordinates of the center of the circle? Why? Because remember, in order to find out the equation of the circle, there are two things that you have to find. The most important is the center. Once you have the center, it's all downhill from there, and that is basically the radius. Equating both equations? No. Because if I equate both equations, basically this is AB. Okay, if I equate both equations, what's the guarantee that I will get the center? Of course not. If I equate both equations, okay, if you're talking about equation of line AB, and if you're saying I equate that with this line, I will not get I will get the point of intersection, but that's not the center. So think about it. Perpendicular bisector of AB. Okay. Now let's see if that makes sense. So perpendicular bisector of AB means a line that's passing through the center and is perpendicular to AB. Now what do we know about the perpendicular bisector of any chord? It's a circle property. The circle property is that if you have a chord, okay, and if you make its perpendicular bisector, it will always pass through the center. Okay, so remember the rule. If you have a chord and if you make a perpendicular bisector of it, it will pass through the center. So now we have one line that's passing through the center and we have another line that's also passing through the center. That means solving them simultaneously will give us the point of intersection, which is none other than the center. Okay, now the question is, how will you find out that you have to do, how will you find out that you have to do this? Answer my question. How will you find out that this is what you have to do? Okay, I know you guys are having that aha moment right now, But in exam, a lot of students will not be able to figure this out. And what do you think are the kind of who do you think are the kind of students will be able to figure it out? Exactly. You have to make a rough sketch. Okay, so we've solved multiple. I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you guys have read the examiner report, but open up any examiner report. Chances are that the examiner will say that please make a rough sketch. It will help you understand the question. Okay, it will tell you exactly what your next couple of steps should be. Okay, so center will basically be the point of intersection of the perpendicular bisector of AB and this line right here. So this is 12x minus 5y equals to 70. I don't think we'll have the examiner report of this paper because this paper happened during COVID. This was during COVID, so we won't have the examiner report. But if I solve another question of circles, of which we have the examiner report, I'll open up and show it to you guys. So 3x plus 2y is equals to 11. Okay, now solve them simultaneously. You can use whatever method you want. I will, however, use elimination. So I'm going to multiply this by minus 4. So the first equation remains as it is, right here. The second equation, however, becomes minus 12x minus 6y is equals to minus 44. So we add the two equations. X gets eliminated, not by coincidence. That is basically the objective here. So 5y minus 6y, that's minus 11y. 70 minus 44, that's equal to 70 minus 44. Okay, let me make sure that I haven't made a calculation error or something. I think I've done it correctly. So is elimination, yeah, of course, elimination method is permissible. Actually, it's going to be minus 8y, sorry, not minus 6y, minus 8y. So minus 5y minus 8y, that's equal to minus 13y, is equals to 70 minus 44, which is 26. So y is equals to 26 divided by minus 13, which means y is equals to minus 2. Okay, so we have the coordinates of y. Now let's find out the x coordinate. So I can find out the x coordinate by plugging in the value of y into any one of the two equations. So 12x minus 5y is equals to 70. Let's plug in y as minus 2. So 12x minus 5 into minus 2, that's equal to plus 10. That's equal to 70. So 12x is equals to 60. X is equals to 5. And that's it. Now it's time to put this all together. X minus 5, the whole thing square, plus y minus minus 2, the whole thing square. Oh no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It's not time to put this all together. We still want to find out the radius. Achha, how will we find out the radius? Remember I said the tricky part is always to find out the center. Once you found the center, it's all downhill from there. Just find out the distance between any point from the center. So r would be equal to square root of, what are the coordinates of b? Let's write that down. The coordinates of b are 5, 11. So it's going to be 11 or 5 minus 5, the whole thing square. 5 minus 5, the whole thing square. Plus 11 minus minus 2, the whole thing square. Okay, so r is equals to 0. And 11 minus minus 12 is equal to what? Is equal to 13. 13 squared is 169, square root of which is going to be 13. So that means the equation of the circle is x minus 5, the whole thing square, plus y plus 2, the whole thing square is equals to 13 squared, which means is equal to 169. There you go. Job done. Now, any questions? If yes, feel free to ask. Now let's move on. Let's do this question. This is a nice one. This is from May, June 2020, paper 11. So you have to show, yes, you have to, sir, how do we know which one to use as x2 and which one to use as, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. No, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए जोहा, जब हम distance निकाल रहे होते हैं ना, तो doesn't matter which one you use as x. So here's the deal. If you're using the x coordinate of one point as x1, then its y coordinate should be considered y1. Okay? And if you're using the x coordinate of the other point as x1, then its y coordinate should also become y1. Okay? So ये नहीं कर सकते हम कि एक point का एक x coordinate को x1 consider कर लिया and y coordinate को y2 consider कर लिया. You can't do that. Okay? All right. Now, The question says, the coordinates of the points A and B are -1, -2, 7, 4 respectively. Find the equation of the circle C for which AB is a diameter. Okay, so fairly easy. AB is the diameter. Once again, make a rough sketch. Make a rough sketch, it will definitely help. Okay, and rough sketch means like a very rough sketch. So here's A, -1, -2. And somewhere over here will be B. And because it's a diameter, that means let's draw it in a way that it actually looks like the diameter. There you go. So we have to find out the midpoint. That's correct. So let's find out the midpoint. -1 plus 7 upon 2, comma, -2 plus 4 upon 2. So -1 plus 7 is 6. 6 upon 2 is 3. Minus 2 plus 4 is 2. 2 upon 2 is 1. So we have the coordinates of the center. Now we want the radius. So the radius can basically be the distance between the center and any point. So I'm just going to use MB as the radius. So that's going to be 7 minus 3 the whole thing squared plus 4 minus 1 the whole thing squared. Yeah, you can do that also. You can find out the diameter and then divide by 2. That's going to be your radius. आप बिल्कुल ये भी कर सकते हैं. So 7 minus 3 is 4, square of which is 16. 4 minus 1 is 3, square of which is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. Square root of 25 is equals to 5. Sir, while sketching circles, so beta, use a compass. Use a compass. Okay, or use any bottle cap or any circular object. Simple as that. So x minus 3 the whole thing square plus y minus 1 the whole thing square is equals to r square. So that's equal to 25. And how many marks do you get for this? You get 3 marks. You get 4 marks for this. Wow. I think that's a pretty big deal. Now, part B. Find the equation of the tangent T to the circle at point P. Okay, now we have to recall some circle properties. So remember, tangent is a straight line. Okay, and if you want to find out the equation of a straight line, you want 2 things. You want its gradient and you want its point. So where will I get these 2 from? What about the gradient? Disposable glass, use Carlina, hall major. Yeah, exactly. So any circular object will do. Simple as that. And honestly, just use a compass. I think the compass is the quickest way to draw a circle. So the rule is that radius and tangent are perpendicular to one another. Once again, circle property. Okay, so radius and tangent are perpendicular to one another. So we're going to find out the gradient of BM, which is basically the gradient of the radius. So that's going to be 4 minus 1, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's equal to 3 upon 4. Now what about the gradient of tangent? The gradient of tangent will be minus 4 upon 3. Now we also want a point through which the tangent is passing. So that's basically the point B. And let's put this together. Y minus 4 is equals to minus 4 upon 3 into x minus 7. Let's cross multiply. So we have 3y minus 12 is equals to minus 4x plus 28. And by the way, you can leave your answer in this form. Okay, this is acceptable. You can leave it in this form. It's good to go. Why can we do that? Because the question hasn't specified as to how we should write our final answer. Okay, so we're not going to waste time simplifying it. This is good to go. Okay, but we can only do that if the question doesn't specify. Sometimes the question will be very particular. Okay, give your answer in so and so form. Then you can't do that. But here you can. Okay. All right, part C. Find the equation of the circle, which is the reflection of circle C in the line T. Okay, so reflection of transformation aa gaya. So the examiner is getting creative. The examiner is mixing up questions. So what happens when you reflect an object? अगर मैं circle को reflect करूँगा, तो ये reflect होके यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. अब कौन सी चीज़ change होगी, कौन सी चीज़ change नहीं होगी, और जो चीज़ change होगी वो change होके अब क्या हो जाएगी, और वो कैसे निकालेंगे? So a lot of questions. Okay, and remember, only students who make a rough sketch of this question will be able to solve it. There are no 2 ways about it. I'm pretty sure, although these are papers that weren't held, these papers got cancelled actually. This was during COVID. But if they were held, I'm pretty sure students who would try to take, basically if students who have that lazy approach, okay, students who have that lazy approach will not be able to solve questions like these. Students who actually go the extra mile, make a rough sketch to fully understand what the question is, they're the ones who are going to be able to solve it. Okay, coordinate B would stay the same. We can find center through vectors and also find point A through vectors. Okay, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. But there's an easier way actually. The point where tangent touches is the midpoint. That's brilliant. Good job, Abdullah. So Abdullah has basically pointed out that the point B, the point of tangent C, the point where the two circles are tangent, is actually going to be the midpoint. Okay, so if you only focus on this situation, so this is the line of reflection. Okay, so we know that this distance will be the same as this distance. Correct? We know that this distance will be the same, so that means point B is basically the midpoint. Okay, so point B is what? Point B is basically the midpoint of the two centers. Okay, point B is basically the midpoint of the two centers. Sir, आपने ही वेक्टर वाला तरीका सिखाया था इस क्वेश्चन के लिए. अच्छा, मैंने सिखाया था, ठीक है, मैंने सिखाया होगा. But I think the midpoint method is easier, but vector वाला भी मैं बता देता हूँ कि कैसे होगा. So how do you go from M to B? You move 4 units towards the right and you move 3 units up. So that means अगर आपने B से center पे जाना है, so you'll move 4 units towards the right, so that's going to be 7 plus 4, and you move 3 units up. So 7 plus 4 is 11, 4 plus 3, that's 7. So 11, 7, I'm assuming will be the coordinates of the center of the reflected circle. ठीक है, अब देखो, here's the thing, both methods are acceptable, but sometimes you have to, teach according to what you think will occur to students the most, okay? Or what method you think will mostly occur to students. I think that the method that mostly will occur to students, the ones who make a rough sketch, will be the midpoint method. But if vector occurs to you, then it's a perfectly legitimate method. Go ahead and do it by vectors also. कोई मसले की बात नहीं है. Okay, so we have a point 3, 1, okay? And we have a point 7, 4, which is now actually the midpoint of the two centers. So C1, I'm going to call this C1 and C2 now. Okay, so C1 is basically center of circle 1 and C2 is basically center of circle 2. ठीक है, और इसके coordinates को हम बोल देते हैं A, B. So the coordinates of the circle center 2, coordinates of the center of the circle C2 is AB. So we're going to do 3 plus A upon 2 is equals to 7, cross multiply. So A will be equal to 11, and then you have 1 plus B upon 2, and we know this, the y coordinate of the midpoint is equal to 4, so B is equals to 4 times 2, 8, 8 minus 1 is equals to 7. And then as far as the radius is concerned, what happens to the radius? We have x minus 11, the whole thing squared, plus y minus 7, the whole thing squared. What about the radius? What happens to the radius? The radius remains the same. Okay, so the radius remains the same. It's 5, so therefore r squared is equals to 25. Sir, keep us in your prayers so we can ace our exams. Definitely, inshallah. Do we need to use the midpoint formula or can we use the other simple method? You can use the midpoint method, you can use the vector method, it's up to you. Okay, it's up to you. So now let's do a slightly difficult question. Okay, a recent one and perhaps a difficult one as well. Let's see what this is. The line AB is perpendicular to the line BC. The circle passes through the points A, B, and C. Trying to find out a difficult one. February, March 2025? चलो February, March 2025 भी कर लेंगे. Let's do this one. This one looks kind of scary. It's May, June 2023, paper 11. Okay, and this is question number 21 of the PDF. Okay, let's do this one. We'll do February, March 2025 also. After this, we'll do February, March 2025. Let's see what it says. So it says here, the diagram shows a circle P with center 0, 2. So P is this circle right here. Its center is 0, 2. So perhaps somewhere over here. Okay, and radius 10. And the tangent to the circle at the point A with coordinates 6, 10. Okay, so, and the tangent to the circle at the point A with coordinates 6, 10. So always a good idea to write down the coordinates. Okay, and make sure that you're using a pencil. Now, there will most likely not be an O-level stream today. Yeah, there will not be an O-level stream today. Tomorrow, inshallah, I'm conducting a live mock. Okay. It shows a second circle Q with center at the point where this tangent meets the y-axis with the radius 5 upon 2 root 5. Okay. Okay, so the center is basically where the tangent meets the y-axis and we're given the radius. So that means ये distance आपका 5 upon 2 root 5. Okay, now is that relevant? We'll find out. We'll find out with the passage of time. So write down the equation of circle P. So as far as circle P is concerned, that's a no-brainer. It's going to be x minus 0 the whole thing square plus y minus 2 the whole thing square is equals to r square. The radius is 10. So that means x square plus y minus 2 the whole thing square is equals to 10 square, which is equal to 100. Okay. Now, find the equation of the tangent to the circle P at A. Okay. So now the diagram will come in handy. So we want to find out the equation of the tangent to the circle. We want to find out the equation of the tangent to the circle at the point A. So I think we have all the relevant information. So I'm going to call this point C since it's the center. So we can find out the gradient of line AC. Okay. That would be 10 minus 2 over 6 minus 0. 10 minus 2 is 8. 6 minus 0 is 6. When you simplify, you get 4 upon 3. That means the gradient of tangent will be minus 3 upon 4. We want a point through which the tangent is passing. That's 6, 10. Put this information together. Y minus 10 is equals to minus 3 upon 4 into x minus 6. The question hasn't specified as to how we should give an answer, so we can leave it like this also. Okay? Question jab na bole ke give your answer in so and so form, then this is good to go. Okay, so we have found the equation of the circle. We have found the equation of the tangent as well. Find the equation of circle Q. Okay, so we want to find out the equation of circle Q. Circle Q is the small circle. And hence verify that the y-coordinates of both the points of intersection of the two circles are 11. Okay. So we have to find out the equation of circle Q. Now remember, the two key ingredients that go into making the equation of a circle is the center and the other is the radius. Now as far as radius is concerned, we're already given the radius. Okay, radius we already have, so we don't have to worry about finding the radius. We do, however, have to worry about finding the coordinates of the center. Now let's go back, let's revisit the question and see what it is that we're given about the center. It shows a second circle Q with center at the point where the tangent meets the y-axis. That means if I can somehow find the equation of the tangent, wait a minute, we've already done that. And if I can somehow find out the point at which the tangent cuts the y-axis, that's it. We have the coordinates of the center. Technically, we already have one coordinate of the center, and that's basically the x-coordinate, which is 0. So we want to find out the y-intercept, basically. So here's the equation of the tangent. Let's copy this. Let's paste it here. And let's plug in x equals to 0. Okay. So y minus 10 is equals to minus 3 upon 4 into 0 minus 6. So that's minus 6. Let's not cross multiply, no point. Y minus 10 is equals to 18 upon 4. So y is equals to 18. Achha, be careful of the amount of space. We're not given a lot of space. So let's utilize the space efficiently. ठीक है, ये ना हो कि आप बिल्कुल ही over excited हो जाएं and you just end up throwing away a lot of space. So I think from this point onwards we can just do it directly. Because अभी हमें prove भी करना है that the point of intersection of the two circles is 11. So minus 3 divided by 4 into minus 6 plus 10. So y is equals to 29 upon 2. Okay, so we have the equation of, we now have the coordinates of the center also. That means we can find out the equation of the circle, x minus 0 the whole thing square plus y minus 29 upon 2. the whole thing square is equal to 5 upon 2 root 5. Was it root 5 or was it root 10? Let me check. 5 upon 2 root 5, the whole thing square. Don't forget to square it. So what's 5 upon 2 into root 5, the whole thing squared? That's equal to 125 upon 4. So x square plus y minus 29 upon 2, the whole thing squared is equals to 125 upon 4. Mock beta, है ना, मैंने सारी announcement कर दी है. Mock inshallah will start at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. So you'll find out, inshallah, when the mock starts. Sir, a question out of the box. Neither I'm related to this live. Will you do the same mock you're doing for the October? We'll see. When the October-November session comes, we'll see. Okay, it's too soon to say anything right now. Anyway, so we have found the equation of the circle Q. So now what does the question want? The question now wants us to find out the point of intersection of the two circles, and we want to, the question basically wants us to verify that the point of intersection is basically equal to what? Is basically equal to 11. Okay, so any idea, any suggestions how we can do that? Kya khayal hai? We found the equation of the circle. How do you think we can find, how do you think we can verify that the point where the two circles intersect is basically 11? So I'm thinking, okay, we have that length, we have that length. Simultaneous? If I equate both the equations, is that going to be difficult to solve them simultaneously? Where is the point two circles intersect? Here it is. अच्छा, एक काम करते हैं. Let's take a screenshot. Okay, and let's paste it here so that you guys can see the question also. Here we go. So the question says, and hence verify that y coordinates of both the points of intersection of the two circles are 11. Actually, okay, here's what we can do. Yeah, because we have to verify, we don't have to show. So what we can do is we can plug in y equals to 11, okay, and we can show that in both the cases, in both the circles, we get the same x coordinate. That's what we can do. Yeah. So what we can do is, since we have to verify okay, y equals to 11 is basically the point of intersection of the two circles, so that means technically when I plug in y in either of the two circles, we should get the same x coordinate. Why? Because it's the point of intersection. Okay, because it's the point of intersection. So if I plug in y equals to 11, I should get the same x coordinate in both the circles. Okay, so let's do that. Let's plug in y equals to 11 in one circle, and then we'll plug it in the other circle. So first let's talk about, since we have the equation of this circle here, इसको हम drag करके ज़रा यहाँ ले जाते हैं to make some room. Okay, so first let's talk about circle Q. Okay, let's talk about circle Q, and in circle Q, let's plug in y equals to 11. So we have x square plus 11 minus 29 upon 2, the whole thing square is equals to 125 upon 4. So let's work this out. 11 minus 29 upon 2, let's square it. Let's do 125 upon 4 minus the answer. So we have x square equal to 19. So that means x is equals to plus minus root 19. Okay, so x is equals to plus minus root 19. Now let's do the same for p. So technically, if y equals to 11 is a point of intersection, we should get the same for p also. So y equals to 11 into the equation of the circle. What was the equation of the circle? It's x squared plus y minus 2, the whole thing squared is equals to 100. So x squared plus y minus 2, so that means 11 minus 2, the whole thing squared is equals to 100. So x squared is equals to 100 11 minus 2 is 9, square of which is 81. So yep, you get the exact same answer. X squared is equals to 19. So x is equals to plus minus root 19. Okay, so same value of x, therefore two circles intersect at y equals to 11. Okay, make a habit of writing this concluding statement. Okay, make a habit of writing this concluding statement ताकि examiner को पता चल जाए that you've made fully sense of your answer. You've made total sense of your answer also. Okay. Now part D. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection of the tangent and circle Q, giving the answer in surd form. Okay, find the coordinates of the point of intersection of the tangent. So we have the equation of the tangent. It's right here. Y minus 10 is equals to minus 3 upon 4 into x minus 6. Okay. And the circle Q. So what's the equation of the circle Q? The equation of the circle Q is x square plus y minus 2, the whole thing square, is equals to 100. Okay, so we have to solve them simultaneously. Now let's simplify this. Let's simplify before we solve this simultaneously. And I think it's best we make y the subject and we plug it in as it is. So y is equals to minus 3 upon 4x plus 6 times 3 is 18, 18 upon 4, so that's 9 upon 2 plus 10. So y is equals to minus 3 upon 4x plus 9 upon 2 plus 10, that's equal to 29 upon 2. Now why have I left this as it is? Why have I not made this as ax plus by equals to c? That's because we're supposed to find out the point of intersection, which means that we're supposed to substitute this into the equation of the circle. Okay, so what do we have? We have x squared plus minus 3 upon 4x plus 29 upon 2 minus 2. The whole thing square is equals to 100. Now make sure that you use the space very, very efficiently. Let's look at the amount of space that we have. It's not a lot. Okay, so make sure that you use it very efficiently. So 29 upon 2 minus 2, that's equal to 25 upon 2. So that means I can write this as, first of all, let's shift this here. Okay, and this can be written as x squared plus 25 upon 2 minus 3 upon 4x, the whole thing square, is equals to 100. Yes, we have to substitute into circle Q. So that's what I've done. Achha, wait a minute. I think I've used, I think I've used circle P's equation. You're right. I didn't realize that we're supposed to use circle Q's equation. Okay, so let me fix that. Thank you for pointing that out. So circle Q's equation is actually x squared plus y minus 29 upon 2, the whole thing square, is equal to 125 upon 4. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this will make life easy. So when you substitute it, you will have x squared plus minus 3 upon 4x plus 29 upon 2 minus 29 upon 2, the whole thing square, is equals to 125 upon 4. Yeah. So 29 upon 2, this cancels. And now what we're dealing with is x squared plus 9 upon 16. X squared is equals to 125 upon 4. Okay. So 16 plus 9, so that will become 25 upon 16. X squared is equals to 125 upon 4. And now what we're going to do is we can simplify. So 25 ones are 25, 25 5s are 125, 4 ones are 4, 4 4s are 16. And if you cross multiply, you have x squared, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 20, which means x is equals to plus minus under root 20. Okay, so the question said to give your answer in third form. So we'll leave it like this. Or if you want, under root 20 can actually be written as plus minus 2 under root 5. Okay, so plus minus 2 under root 5. Now we can substitute this into it's best that we substitute this into the equation of a straight line to find out the y coordinate. So y would be equal to minus 3 upon 4 in place of x, first let's plug in the positive value. So 2 upon 5 plus 29 upon 2. So I would strongly advise to use your calculator to work this out. So minus 3 upon 4, bracket open, 2 under root 5, bracket close, plus 29 upon 2. So we have 29 minus 3 under root 5 upon 2. And for the other, it's going to be with a plus sign. Okay? Or when you substitute it with a positive value, because you're doing it, you're plugging in plus as well as minus. So when you do it with the minus value, you'll have a positive answer. So y is equals to 29 plus 3 under root 5 upon 2. Now a good idea would be to write the final answer like this. Okay, to write the final answer in point form. So 2 under root 5 gives you 29 minus 3 under root 5 upon 2. Okay, so that's one point of intersection. Can you plug it in the, yeah, you can plug it in the equation of the circle, but that's going to be even more difficult for you to work out. And then the other point of intersection will be minus 2 under root 5, comma, 29 plus 3 under root 5 upon 2. So, Mazaya, whoops. Now, shall we do the Feb-March question? What do you guys think? Should we do the Feb-March question? Why make your life, yeah, exactly. Why make your life difficult than it already is? Okay, let me see if I can find the Feb-March question. I can find the Feb-March paper. Here it is. Okay, I don't think the Feb-March question was very difficult. But chalo, let's do it. Where do you get the Feb-March papers from? कोई ना कोई भेज ही देता है. They're usually available on Reddit. You'll find them on Reddit, basically. Achha, just a minute. मैं ज़रा watermark हटा दूँ. I don't want my channel to get a strike. So I'm just going to hide the iPad screen for a second. Last time my channel got a strike because of the February-March paper. So although I'm thinking that I solved this paper on a live stream, what do you guys suggest? I'll probably title it something else. I'll call it the latest math paper or stuff like that. Achka dated 27th. So maybe I'll do that a day or two before the exam. Maybe do it as a mock. No, if I do it as a mock, then you guys... No, I'm definitely not going to do it as a mock. So mock I will most likely compile from past papers, definitely, but not the February-March paper. Because apparently you cannot solve papers that are not publicly available. They didn't give me like a valid reason. They just said that you can't do it. I don't remember. Is baat ko bhi acha khasa time ho gaya, so I don't remember exactly what was the issue, but I remember it was due to past papers. Anyway, so let's solve this and then we'll take a 5-7 minute break for namaz and then we'll come back. Okay, I also need to pray Maghrib. So yeah, let's just solve this and then we'll take a namaz break. Okay. State the coordinates of the center of this. Achha, wait, before that, let's read the question. Let's read the question. The question says, the diagram shows a circle of radius r where x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0 for all points on C. The least distance between any point on C and the x-axis is 8 units. So that means where will this least distance be? This is the least distance. Okay, and what's this? No, wait, x-axis. The least distance between any point on C, that means on the circle, and the x-axis is 8 units. So that means this distance is actually 8. Okay, actually very maze ka sawal hai. Okay, so pay attention. It's actually a very fun question. And then the question says, and the least distance between any point on C and the y-axis is 5 units. So that least distance would actually be this distance. Okay, so they really went quite creative in coming up with this question. Yeah, so this is 5. And we have to state the coordinates of the center of the circle in terms of r. Now, if you think about it, since this distance is 8, that means this y coordinate will actually be equal to 8. Okay, so since this distance is 8, that means this y coordinate will actually be equal to 8. Okay, so it's like you're moving 8 units up from the x-axis. That means the y coordinate is 8. And similarly, if you're moving 5 units towards the right from the y-axis, that means the x coordinate at this point will be equal to 5. Okay, the x coordinate at this point will be equal to 5. So what about the coordinates of the center of the circle? So let's start with the x coordinate. So 5 is the x coordinate over here, then another r units. Okay, so you move 5 units towards the right, then you move another r units. So that means as far as the x coordinate of the center is concerned, that would be 5 plus r. Okay, so 5 up until here and then plus r. Now, what about the y coordinate? As far as the y coordinate is concerned, so that's 8 up until here and then another r unit. So that would be 8 plus r. So these are basically the coordinates of the center of the circle in terms of r. Okay. Now, given that the distance between the origin and the center of the circle is 15 units, find the value of r. So now it's a piece of cake. Once you have the coordinates of the center, it's all downhill from there. So 5 plus r, comma 8 plus r, and the origin we know very well is 0, 0. Okay, I'm going to call this C. So OC is equals to 15. So that means 5 plus r minus 0, the whole thing squared, plus 8 plus r minus 0, the whole thing squared, inside the square root, is equal to what? Is equals to 15. So this will be, so we can totally ignore the 0. And we can square both sides. So this would be 25 plus 10r plus r square plus 64 plus 16r plus r square is equals to 225. So r square plus r square, that's 2r square. 10r plus 16r, that's equal to 26r. 25 plus 64 minus 225. 25 plus 64 minus 225, that's equal to minus 136 equals to 0. Make your life easy. Divide by 2. So r square plus 13r minus 136 divided by 2, that's 68. So factors of 68 that give you 13. I think 17, 5 times, no wait, 17 times 4? Yeah, 17 times 4. So r square plus 17r minus 4r minus 68 is equals to 0. Yeah, go ahead if you want to use the quadratic formula. Take r common, so you have r plus 17. Take minus 4 common, so you also have r plus 17. So there are two values of r that you will get. One would be equal to 4, and the other would be minus 17. So minus 17 obviously doesn't make sense. R is equals to 4 is the final answer. Okay, so that's what the question wanted. The question said, Kangya? Achha, obviously the question is not going to specify that. We know from prior knowledge that r is radius. It's always going to be positive. So 4 is the correct answer. Okay? All right. Now, the point on the circle furthest from the origin is denoted by P. Find the gradient of the tangent to the circle at P. What app I'm using? I'm using GoodNotes. So the point on the circle furthest from the origin. Furthest from the origin. Could you explain part A again? I'll give you a summary. If you want to watch it again, you can go back to that part of the stream and watch it. So basically this distance is 5 and this will be r. So the x coordinate will be 5 plus r. And similarly this distance is 8 according to the question. This distance is r. So the y coordinate of this point will be r plus 8 or 8 plus r. And you have the coordinates of the center. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this mess up. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Whoops. Barcode हट गया था. Okay, so let's bring this mess back. Now let's paste this here. All right. So the point on the circle furthest from the origin. So which point will be the one that's furthest from the origin? The point that intersects the circle and then passes through the center. Okay, so for a point to be furthest from the origin, it has to be, so the point that will be furthest from the origin is the point that is basically on the end point of the diameter. Okay, why? Because the longest line that can be drawn inside a circle is basically a diameter. Okay, so it has to be on the diameter. Okay, and it has to be on the endpoints of the diameter. So this is the point P that is basically the furthest from the origin. Achha, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to find out the gradient of the tangent to the circle at P. Okay, so we're supposed to find out the gradient of the tangent to the circle at P. Okay, let's see how we can do that. This is from February, March 2025. How many marks is this? It's 2 marks. Okay, so we found out the value of R. Okay, so with the value of R, what we can do is we can find out the coordinates of the center. So the coordinates of the center are now basically 5 plus 4, so that's 9, and 8 plus 4, so that is 12. Okay, so this question is in the PDF you shared. Yeah, so I'll update it. I'll update the PDF. Okay, you're right, it isn't. I'll update it, no problem. So what we can do is we can find out the gradient of, so I'm going to call this C. So I can find out the gradient of OC. Okay. Why? Because O has coordinates 0, 0. So that's going to be 12 minus 0, y2 minus y1 over 9 minus 0. So that's equal to 12 upon 9. Now what about the gradient of the tangent? What will be the gradient of the tangent? Since this simplifies to 4 upon 3, the gradient of the tangent will be minus 3 upon 4. There you go. But here's the question. Here's the important question that we need to answer. How will I get the coordinates of P? Is there anything about P that we know? No, we don't. So how will I get the coordinates of P? Question for you guys. Because we have to find out the gradient and we want a point. So the question is, how will I find out the coordinates of P? Soche, think about it. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. We don't need the coordinates. The question is just asking us to find the gradient. You're right. So we don't need that. That's true. That is true. We don't need the coordinates. We want just the gradient at point P. Okay, so yeah. Although if we did need the coordinates, how would we do that? Let me think. So we will, the gradient is 3 upon 4. Yeah, so we would have had to use vectors. Yeah, rise over run हमें use करना पड़ता. So because the rise over run is 4:3, so, and the radius is, what's the radius? The radius is 4. Yeah, so, no, I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can actually find out the coordinates at point P. Because ये 4 है, अब इसको हम कैसे break करेंगे? इसको break करना मुश्किल होगा. So we can't do that. We can't do that. There's got to be some other piece of information which we can use to find out the coordinate, the equation of P. We can? Okay, how do you think we can? अच्छा अब एक काम करते हैं. Let's take a short break, and then when we come back, I want to solve 1 or 2 more questions. Okay, some difficult questions. And let me know if you guys need a part 2 of this. Tomorrow I was thinking to maybe do, okay, tomorrow, how many days do we have? We have 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st. We have 4 days. Okay. Tomorrow I was thinking maybe we do trigonometry or circular measure, one of the two. Maybe, in fact, no, tomorrow I was thinking either trigonometry or APGP, not circular measure. Circular measure we'll do later. But एक काम करते हैं चलें. Let's just take a 5-minute break, okay? And after that, we will solve some remaining questions and then we'll discuss कि कल हम क्या कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So I'll be back on my desk in 5 minutes. Okay, so we're back now. So you guys requested me to solve some questions. Let's see which ones. Question 17. Okay, let me have a look at question 17. There's one question which I really want to solve, and that is, yeah, that's actually this question. Yeah, that's actually this one. That's question number 4. Please, when will you do work, energy, and power? I did one stream of work, energy, power for mechanics already. Okay, so make sure to check it out. I've done a stream for work, energy, power already. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'll do another one also. Inshallah, as soon as P1 is done, I'll do another. I'll be doing back-to-back M1 streams as well. Okay, so let's solve. No, I don't make guest papers. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but I don't make guest papers. Anyway, let's see what this question says. So this question says the equation of a circle with center C is x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 4y minus 5 is equals to 0. Find the radius of the circle and the coordinates of C. So you have questions like these where you're given the equation in expanded form and you have to bring it in completed square form to find out the equation of the to find out the equation of the circle, basically. Okay, to find out the center and to basically write it in completed square form so that you can find out the radius and the center. Can I use this live stream if I'm an advanced student? Yeah, actually you can. So you have x squared minus 8x, we leave a bit of space, then we write y squared plus 4y, then we leave a bit of space, and then we shift the constant across the equals to sign, which is basically positive 5 now. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to add the square of 4 here. So if you add the square of 4, you add the square of 4 on the right-hand side as well. And here you will add the square of 2. And if you do that on the left-hand side, you do that on the right-hand side as well. So this part of the expression now compresses and becomes x minus 4 the whole thing square. This part of the expression now compresses and becomes y plus 2 the whole thing squared. Yeah, you can do that also. You can do gx fy plus h. That's also all right. This becomes 5 plus 25 plus 4. So what's that equal to? 5 plus 25 plus 4. That's equal to 34. Okay, and that's it. We have the equation of the circle in the standard form. The coordinates of the center is equal to 4 comma negative 2. Okay, and the radius is equal to under root 34. There you go. So we have the radius and we have the coordinates of the center, which is equal to under root 34. No, wait a minute. 16 plus 4, that's 20. That's 25. Yeah. 16 plus 4, that's 25. I think 9 add kar diya. Yeah, 5 plus, okay. I don't know what I've done, but it's actually 5. Yeah. So R is equals to 5 units. Okay, now 3 easy marks. Next, the question says the point P 1, 2 lies on the circle. Show that the equation of the tangent to the circle at P is 4y equals to 3x plus 5. Okay, so a rough sketch is mandatory if you want to be able to understand and solve the question correctly. So we know that the coordinates of the center are 4, minus 2. Okay, 1, 2 kahan pe hoga, thoda left pe hoga, or thoda upar hoga. Okay, so just make sure that even if it's a rough sketch, then it's still as accurate as possible. 1 means that it's going to be towards the left, 2 means that it's going to be slightly above. So point P that we're talking about is probably somewhere over here. And what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to show that the equation of the tangent to the circle at P is basically 4y equals to 3x plus 5. Okay, so we know the coordinates of P are 1, 2. So let's find out, and this is the center C. So let's find out the gradient of PC. So that would be 2 minus minus 2 over 1 minus 4. So 2 minus minus 2 is equals to 4. 1 minus 4, that's equal to minus 3. So that means the gradient of the tangent is equals to 3 upon 4. And the coordinates, the point that we need is 1, 2. So let's put this information together. Y minus 2 is equals to 3 upon 4 x minus 1. So we cross multiply, we have 4y minus 8 is equals to 3x minus 3. Now let's move all the terms to, actually no, let's keep y here and everything else across. So 4y is equals to 3x plus 5. That's it. That's your equation for the tangent to the circle at P. Job done. Will there be S1 streams? Yes, yes, definitely. There will be S1 streams, inshallah. Don't worry. The point Q also lies on the circle and PQ is parallel to the x-axis. So what can we expect from Q? If point Q is parallel to the x-axis, so what kind of a line are we talking about? Question for you guys. If point Q is parallel to the x-axis, तो फिर हम किस तरह की line के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? Question for you guys. Let's delete this. Whoops. Perpendicular? No. If it's parallel to the x-axis, we're talking about a horizontal line. Okay, so if the line PQ is parallel to the x-axis, that means we're talking about a horizontal line. Okay, and what do we know about? So what can we say for sure about the y-coordinate? We know for sure that the y-coordinate will be equal to 2. ठीक है, ये तो हम for sure कह सकते हैं कि y-coordinate 2 होगा. Why? Because it's a horizontal line. Now the question is, how do I find out the x-coordinate? Okay, how do I find out the x-coordinate? Okay, now y equals to 0? No, not necessarily. How do you guys come up with y equals to 0? ऐसा कहाँ लिखा है? We don't know that. We don't know whether y is going to be equal to 0 or not. So basically, it's a line that's parallel to the y-axis or parallel to the x-axis. Parallel to x-axis means that the line will be horizontal. Okay, if the line is horizontal, that means that the y-coordinate will be the same. Okay, so y is 0. I don't know what you guys mean by that. There is nothing which suggests that y is equals to 0. Okay, the gradient will be equal to 0, but not the y-coordinate. Okay, so how do you find out the x-coordinate? You have multiple options. Okay, how do you find out the x-coordinate? You have multiple options. What you can do is you can plug in this point into the equation of the circle, as in you can plug in y into the equation of the circle. You can do it like that. ठीक है? Or what you can do is, अब मुझे नहीं पता ये कितने लोग एग्जाम के टाइम में फिगर आउट कर सकेंगे. ठीक है, I want you guys to tell me if you were honestly able to figure this out or not. So basically, the midpoint of PQ, the x-coordinate of the midpoint, will basically be equal to what? Will basically be equal to 4. Okay? Why? Because ये horizontal line है. You can see that this point is directly below it. So that means the midpoint of this line has x-coordinate 4. Okay, so we can use that and be able to find out the x-coordinate of Q. Okay, that's one way that we can do it. Or you can do it the other way that I suggested. But I don't know exam में कितने लोग ये चीज़ figure out कर सकेंगे. अगर आप ये figure out कर सकते हैं, that's great. If not, then there's always a way out. So x plus 1 upon 2. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So x plus 1 is equals to 8. That means x is equals to 7. Okay, so that's one way. But thankfully, there is a way out. So there is an alternative way also. And the alternative way is that you use the equation of the circle. X minus 4 the whole thing squared plus y minus minus. So that's y plus 2 the whole thing squared is equals to 25. Okay, so once you figured out that the y coordinate will be 2, you plug in the y coordinate into the equation of the circle. Okay, so x minus 4 the whole thing square is equals to 2 plus 2, which is 4, square of which is 16, is equals to 25. That means x minus 4 the whole thing square is equals to 9. Okay, and then when you take the square root, x minus 4 is equals to plus minus 3. So x minus 4 is equals to 3, which means x is equals to 7. That's the x coordinate that we're looking for. Okay, that's the x coordinate we're looking for. Because if you do x minus 4 is equals to minus 3, you get x equals to 1. We already know that. We already know that. Okay, so this is the alternative way. So I hope you guys are able to figure this out in the exam. If not, then you have an alternative way also. Achha, why is gradient 0? So we can equate the gradient to 0, but it's not going to do anything for us. Okay, if you equate the gradient to 0, तो बेटा सब ने 0 हो जाना है. 2 minus 2 over x minus 1 is equals to 0. अब आप ये क्रॉस मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, 0 equals to 0. ठीक है, वो उर्दू में सेइंग है ना, खोदा पहाड़ निकला चूहा, तो वही हो जाएगा. So it's not going to help. Okay, you're right, the gradient is 0, but it's not going to help. Okay, now, the tangents to the circle at P and Q meet at T, find the coordinates of T. Okay, so once again, make a rough sketch. Actually, you guys know what? This is not the question that I was talking about. That's actually this question. The two tangents touch the circle at A and B, find the equation. एक बड़ा मुश्किल सवाल था. शायद ये वाला था. Question number 5. Okay, so it's not the question that I was talking about. So let's do another question after this. So here's the deal. The two tangents intersect at T. Okay. The two tangents intersect at T. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to find out the coordinates of T. Now, you could do that. You could make two equations. You could make one equation of a straight line. You could make one equation. You can make one equation of this tangent, make another one of this tangent, solve them simultaneously to find out the coordinates of T. But for 3 marks, you think that makes sense? You think that makes sense for 3 marks? So let's do it. Let's do it the way that you guys are suggesting. And then we'll see if there's an alternative way also. Okay? But don't, okay, in the exam, if you can't think of an easier method, who's that? Classic meme page. Yes, that is correct. X will be 4. Okay, we'll figure that out. How? But if in the exam you can't immediately think of a shortcut, then please don't waste your time doing that. Just do it the normal way. Simple as that. So, first let's find out the equation of tangent at P. Equation of tangent at P. And I think we've done that already. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. I think it does make sense for 3 marks. Okay. Even the longer way. Why? Because we already have the equation of the tangent at P. So even if we use the simultaneous method, it makes total sense because we've already found the equation of tangent at P. Okay. So that means the story actually starts from the equation of tangent at Q. Okay. So let's find out the gradient of CQ. Okay, so we know the x coordinate of Q now. We know that the x coordinate is 7, so we're going to use that. So that would be 2 minus minus 2 over 7 minus 4. 2 minus minus 2 is 4. 7 minus 4 is equals to 3. Okay, so that means that the gradient of tangent at Q will be equal to minus 3 upon 4. Okay, and we need a point which is 7 comma 2. So we're going to use this point and we're going to solve them simultaneously. So y minus 2 is equals to minus 3 upon 4 into x minus 7. Now let's cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, you have 4y minus 8, which is equal to minus 3x plus 28. Let's write this nicely. 4y is equals to 3x, 28 plus 8. What's that equal to? That's equal to 36. So we know equation of tangent at P, so we can insert x equals to 4 to find the y coordinate. Okay, if for those of you who figured out the shortcut, that's great. For those of you who haven't, first let's do it the longer way and then we'll see what's the shortcut. Okay, so agar aapne shortcut figure out kar liya, that is great. 21, oh yeah, 21. 21. So 21 plus 8, that's 29. Thank you. So we have this equation. इसके नीचे हम लिखते हैं ये वाली equation. Let's add the two, and upon adding the two, x gets eliminated. Okay, so we have 8y, which is equal to 29 plus 5. What's that equal to? That's equal to 34. Okay, and we have to find out the y coordinate. So to find out the y coordinate, we have 34 upon 8, and let's simplify that. We can simplify using the table of 2, so that's equal to 17 upon 4. So that means the coordinates of T, let's find out the x coordinate also. The x coordinate, for the x coordinate, we'll plug it in any one of the two simpler equations. Let's go back to the equation of tangent at P, which was 4y equals to 3x plus 5. Okay, so let's plug in y here. So we have 4 times 17 upon 4. 4 times 17 upon 4 is equals to 3x plus 5. So cancel. 3x is equals to 17 minus 5, which is equal to 12. X is equals to 4. So that means the coordinates of T are 4 comma 17 upon 4. ठीक है, अब देखो आई नो आप लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि ये क्या मैं इतना लंबा मेथड कर रहा हूँ, इसको तो करने का एक आसान तरीका भी है. So if you figured out the shortcut, that's brilliant. But the thing is, sometimes you have to put yourself in, you have to recall that you basically have to put yourself in the exam environment and then see whether you'll be able to figure it out or not. Okay? So here's the deal. Alternatively, this question could have been solved like this. अच्छा अब देखो, ये तो सबको पता होगा from O levels that two tangents intersect at, or the two tangents that meet externally are equal in length. Okay, number one. Number two is that when the two tangents are intersecting, they will basically be lining up with the center. Okay, so if for example tangents यहाँ बन रहे होते, so they would line up horizontally with the center. Okay, but because the tangents are intersecting vertically above the center, so this makes a vertical line. Okay, so because the two tangents are intersecting at a point which is vertically above the center, so that means C till the point of intersection, which is T, is going to be a vertical line. Okay, ye rule hai. That's the rule. Okay, all right. Now, if that's the case, this won't work. Yeah, exactly. For this, your rough sketch has to be basically quite accurate. It shouldn't be as rough. It has to be quite accurate. So that means we know for sure that since it's vertically above, okay, since T is vertically above the center, so that means we know for sure that the x coordinate of the center will be 4. Okay, now if you know that the x coordinate of the center is 4, and you also know the tangent at one of the 2 points, so that means all you got to do is plug in 4 in the equation of this line. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to plug in 4 in the equation of the tangent at P in place of x. So 4 is equals to 3 times 4 plus 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 5 is equals to what? Is equals to 17. Okay. And what's y is equals to? Y is equals to 17 upon 4. Same as what we got earlier. There you go. कैसा? मजा आया? Okay, I want to do one of those questions where we have to use the concept of discriminant. And that'll be the last question. Yeah, let's do this one. Let's do this one. Yeah, wait a minute. There's an easier way. I mean, there's another question also. There's another question which is actually more complicated than this one. Okay, let's do this one. Sir, do you remember me? Sarah Marvi. Okay, I don't want to embarrass you by saying no, so let me think. From Nixer? Zara from Nixer? Acha, please what? Akmal, please what? The equation of the circle x minus a the whole thing square plus y minus 3 the whole thing square equals to 20. The line y equals to half x plus 6 is a tangent to the circle. Nixer grade 9. That name definitely rung a bell. Okay. So x minus a the whole thing square plus y minus 3 the whole thing square is equals to 20. Okay, and the line y is equals to half x plus 6. And what's the keyword? The keyword is tangent. Please do question 17. There is part in A. We need to find an angle inside the circle. Okay, we'll do that. This is from May, June 2023, paper 12. Actually, May, June 2023, paper 12 was actually one of the most difficult papers that I've come across. Let me confirm. May, June 2023, paper 12. Yeah, I was thinking maybe we solve this on a live stream. May, June 2023, paper 12. Let's see. We have limited time, so many things to do. Let's just make the most of the time that we have. So basically, this is tangent. Okay, so when a line is tangent, remember the concept of discriminant is not just limited to a curve and a straight line. It's also applied to a curve and a circle also. Okay. So b square minus 4ac is equals to 0. Okay, keep that in mind. ठीक है, so I think कल फिर हम extreme रखते हैं. चल let me think. Okay, let me think after the stream कि क्या किया जाए. I don't want to commit something and then not do it. So let me think about it. उसका gradient negative reciprocal होगा. Okay, Umar, I think आप थोड़ा पीछे चल रहे हैं. I think you're probably talking about a question that I've already solved. Okay, so let's solve this. So we have x square minus 2ax plus a square. Let's first simplify this. So the simplified version of this would be half x plus 3, the whole thing square. So plus 1 upon 4x square plus 2 times half, that's x. X times 3, that is 3x plus 9. And what's this equal to? This is equal to 20. Okay. Sir, is angle between two lines using gradient and is in differentiation? It's in coordinate geometry. You can download my notes. You'll find the way to do it in my coordinate geometry notes. So anyway, x squared plus 1 upon 4x squared is equals to 5 upon 4x squared plus 3x minus 2ax plus a squared plus 9 minus 20, which will be a squared minus 11 is equals to 0. Okay, so 5 upon 4x squared. Let's take x common, so we have the coefficient of x, that's 3 minus 2a, plus a square minus 11, which is equal to 0. Okay? We have practical in 29, so no streams at night. We don't have any other option. What time do you guys get done with the practical? So a is equals to 5 upon 4, b is equals to 3 minus 2a, and c is equals to a square minus 11. How about stream like early in the morning, 7 a.m., 8 a.m.? What do you guys think? So b square minus 4ac, remember, will be equal to 0. So 3 minus 2a, the whole thing square, minus 4 into a, which is 5 upon 4, into c, which is a square minus 11, is equal to 0. Okay, I saw that coming. Now, let's expand this. So this would be 9. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So 9 minus 12a. Plus 4a square minus a square plus, no wait, minus 5a square. Because 5 to hai na. So minus 5a square plus 55. Why plus 55? Because it's minus 5 times a square and it's minus 5 times minus 11. So how are we supposed to figure out that we have to use discriminant? Because remember, the concept of discriminant does not just apply to a curve and a straight line. It applies to a curve and it applies to a straight line and a circle as well. And why is that? What happens when you substitute the equation of a straight line into a circle? What does it boil down to? It boils down to a quadratic equation. That's why you can use the discriminant with a circle and a straight line as well. So what do we get? We get minus a square minus 12a. 9 plus 55, that's equal to 64. So plus 64 equals to 0. Let's write this nicely. So it's going to be a square minus 12a minus 64 equals to 0. So factors of 64 that leave us with 12. That's going to be 16 and 4, no brainer. So a square minus 16a plus 4a minus 64 is equals to 0. Shouldn't be greater than 0 because there are two answers for a. No, because the question says tangent. Okay, so that means the discriminant is equal to 0. Okay, revise discriminant, revise the rules for discriminant. I think you need to do that. So we take a common, we have a minus 16. We take 4 common, so we have a minus 16. 8 will be plus 12a. बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हैं. चलें, लाइफ का ये बेनिफिट होता है कि कोई भी गलती करो तो सब बता देते हैं. So it's going to be a plus 16 and then we'll have to take minus 4a and it's going to be a. We have to take minus 4a, so that's also going to be a plus 16. Yeah, that's correct. Equals to 0. So one value of a is equals to 4 and the other value of a is minus 16. The question said that one value of a is 4, find the other possible value. So that other possible value is minus 16. There you go. Sir, रात ब्यूरी यहाँ but circles में थोड़ा कभी कभी difficult होता है और सुबह 8 बजे SGT पर पेपर है. What do you mean by that? SGT 11 p.m. right now here, sir. क्या करूँ? 11 p.m. Where are you from? 11 p.m. 2-hour time difference. Sir, do we show the solving? Yes, you do. It's mentioned in the exam report that you have to show it in detail. Okay, so For a is equals to 4, find the equation of the normal to the circle at P. Once again, the only way to do that is by making a rough sketch. Singapore. Okay. So a is 4. That means the coordinates of the center are 4, 3. There you go. P is the point where the line is tangent. Okay, so P is the point where the line is tangent, and what's the line? The line is basically half x plus 6. So half x plus 6. Achha, first of all, let's find out the coordinates of P. Okay, first of all, let's find out the coordinates of P, because if you notice, we're not given the coordinates of P. Okay, so we will definitely need the coordinates of point P. Will we need the coordinates of point P? Yeah, we will, because we have to find out, or maybe not actually. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's make a rough sketch. Maybe not. We will not need the coordinates of point P. So we know that the line half x plus 6 is a tangent. Okay, so that means it's probably going to be somewhere over here. Okay, so it's probably going to be somewhere over here. Okay, because it's a upward sloping line, so half x plus 6 will probably be somewhere over here. Okay, so assuming this is point P. I don't know whether this is point P, so assuming this is point P, because it's an upward sloping line, so it's got to be something like this. You could draw it here also. That's perfectly all right. Now, gradient of normal means that it's perpendicular. And if it's perpendicular, that means it's going to pass through the radius. There you go. So this is the tangent line, which has equation y equals to half x plus 6. So that means the gradient of tangent is 1 upon 2. Which means the gradient of normal is minus 2. And we need a point through which the normal is passing, so we're not going to waste time find the coordinates of P. We are just going to use the coordinates of the center, and that's 4, 3. Okay, so y minus 3 is equals to minus 2 into x minus 4. You can leave it like this. Let's see if there's a following part. Because there is a following part, तो हम इसको simplify कर लेते हैं. So y minus 3 is equals to minus 2x plus 8. Y is equals to minus 2x plus 11. So there you go. This is the equation of the tangent. Sorry, not the tangent, equation of the normal at P. There you go. Okay, now let's see what the next part says. So the next part says, part C. For a equals to 4, find the equation of the two tangents to the circle which are parallel to the normal found in part B. Okay, interesting. This is an interesting question. मुझे अब याद आ गया ये कौन सा question है. हाँ, May June 2023 है ना, so of course it was a difficult question. इसका इस पेपर का APGP बहुत मुश्किल था. इस पेपर का equation of circles मुश्किल था. और क्या मुश्किल था इसका? Integration और वो सब मुझे याद नहीं. But overall it was a difficult paper. Alright, so here's the deal. Pay attention. The deal is that the question says for a equals to 4, find the equations of the two tangents. Trig identity was also very difficult. Yes. Aisha, you can download my notes directly from the website mathletebysart.com. Find the equations of the two tangents to the circle which are parallel to the normal found in part B. अच्छा, अब इसको जरा delete कर देते हैं. What we have found is basically the equation of the normal. Okay, so let's extend this. This is what we have found. So there will be a tangent which is right here. Okay, this tangent will be parallel to the normal. Correct? And you have another tangent which will also be parallel to the normal. ठीक हो गया? We're basically supposed to find out the equation of these two tangents. Okay? We are basically supposed to find out the equation of these two tangents. Okay, so I hope that's clear. This is the normal of which the equation we just found. And what's the equation? Let's write that down. The equation of this normal is y is equals to minus 2x plus 11. We're basically supposed to find out the equation of this tangent and the equation of this tangent. Okay, so I'm going to call this T1 and I'm going to call this T2. So this is T1, T2. One thing we know for sure about T1 is that its equation will be y equals to minus 2x plus C1. One thing we can say for sure about T2 is that its equation will be minus 2x plus C2. Okay, the gradient would be the same, the y-intercept would be different. Okay? So I hope that's clear to everyone that the gradient would be the same, the y-intercept would be different, not the fall size. Okay, acha, here's what we can do. Here is what we can do. So technically, I want, सर आज आपने भी 5 घंटे से ऊपर जाना है. नहीं बेटा, वो सिर्फ सर जैन कर सकते हैं, वो और कोई नहीं कर सकता. ठीक है, मैं 2-2.5 घंटे के बाद मेरी बस हो जाती है. So basically, we want the point of intersection between, I can do multiple streams, but not one extensive stream. I don't know how he does that. Okay. Hats off to him, but I can't do that. Anyway, so the equation of tangents, what we can do is we can simplify them and we can say that the equation of tangent will be minus 2x plus c. Okay. So we want the point of intersection between the circle and the tangent. So we want the point of intersection between the circle and the tangent. Now the tangent, the general equation of tangent is y equals to minus 2x plus c, okay? And the equation of the circle is x minus 4 the whole thing square plus y minus 3 the whole thing square is equal to 20. Okay. Now once again, the two lines are tangent. So once again, what we have to do is we have to use the discriminant concept. Okay, we have to use the discriminant concept. So I'm going to plug in this, and because this line is supposed to be tangent to the circle, so that means b square minus 4ac will be equal to 0. So x minus 4 the whole thing square plus minus 2x plus c minus 3 the whole thing squared is equals to 20. ठीक है? Now, the question is, how do we expand this? So let's focus on what we're doing. You guys can debate that later. Okay. I don't care what the conclusion turns out to be. Okay. Let's focus on what we're doing. So we have plugged in the 2. Now what we're supposed to do is we are supposed to expand. The thing is, सारे पैसे जो है ना उसको expand करने के. ठीक है, सारा जो difficulty है ना वो basically इसको expand करने की है. वो किस लिए? वो इसलिए कि इसको expand करना is no problem, but how do you expand this? How do you expand this? You can expand this by using the second identity, but you'll have to be a little bit smart for it. Okay, so we will use the second identity, but we'll have to be a little bit smart. Isn't c is equals to 11? Nope, c is not equal to 11. Okay, so we're talking about a different line. We basically want to find out the values of c for which the equation of a straight line is tangent to the circle. Okay, c equals to 11 तो इस line का था. इस line की तो कहानी खत्म हो गई अब. So what we're going to do is we need to find out the values of c for which this equation is tangent to the circle. Okay. Yeah, I do have a playlist for equation of circles. C minus 3 substitute kar lein. That's what we're going to do. So basically we're going to use minus 2x plus c minus 3. यहाँ काम करें आप. Write this nicely and write this as c minus 3 minus 2x the whole thing square. Now what happens is this becomes a and this becomes b. ठीक है? This becomes c minus 3 becomes a and 2x becomes b. So now when we expand, so let's look at the amount of space. We don't have a lot of space, so just be careful. So I'm going to start expanding now. So we have x square minus 8x plus 16 plus c minus 3 the whole thing squared. Okay, so that's a square minus 2 into a, so that means 2 into c minus 3 into b, which is 2x, plus 2x the whole thing square is equals to 20. Okay, now let's start simplifying. So you have x square minus 8x. अच्छा, अब ये मेरा आपको एक मशवरा है कि if you think about it, c minus 3 is basically a constant. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to expand this because I have to use the discriminant again. So because it's a constant, I'm going to leave this as it is. So what did I do? So basically I expanded this using a minus b the whole thing square, where a is equals to c minus 3 and b is equals to 2x. This is what I've done. A is equals to c minus 3 and b is equals to 2x. That's what I've done. In case anyone wondering, this is what I've done. Can't we take minus 2x plus c as a? You can do that. But I prefer to keep the constant as one and the variable as the other. Okay. So plus c minus 3 the whole thing square. I'm going to leave this as it is. Now let's expand this. Let's see what this becomes. So this becomes minus 2c plus 6 multiplied by 2x. We'll come back to it in the next step. Plus 4x square minus 20 equals to 0. Okay. Now, so we have, इसको जरा add करना शुरू करते हैं. 4x square plus x square, that's equal to 5x square. Okay. Now, minus 8x, we'll leave that as it is. Now let's expand this. So this will be minus 2cx plus 12x. Okay. And then 16 minus 20, that's minus 4. So don't forget that you have a plus c minus 3 the whole thing squared and minus 4 equals to 0. Okay, so this was, well, I'm sure you guys know how difficult this paper was. I don't need to remind you again and again. 4cx, yep, that's correct. 4cx, that should be 4cx. Okay. Let me double check. Minus 4cx plus 12x. Yep, everything looks good. Okay, now, so minus 8x plus 12x, that's going to be positive 4. So we have 5x square. अच्छा, हाथ के हाथ में क्या करूँ? मैं x common ले रहा हूँ. So minus 8x plus 12x, that's 4. So that's going to be 4 minus 4c plus c minus 3, the whole thing squared minus 4. Now remember, because it's tangent, that means b square minus 4ac will be equal to 0. Okay, b square minus 4ac will be equal to 0. So b square, that means 4 minus 4c, the whole thing squared, minus 4 into a, which is 5, into c, which means c minus 3, the whole thing squared minus 4 is equal to 0. So shouldn't the perpendicular to tangent pass through the center? We can calculate intersections. Shouldn't the perpendicular to the tangent? Okay, let's first get through this. ठीक है, इसको solve करने का sadly कोई और तरीका नहीं है. I'm sure you guys would wish that there was an alternative way, but there isn't. Let's get through this and then we will explore if there is another way to it. ठीक है, अभी let me continue from here. So this is what we have. Okay, now let's expand this and let's solve for the value of c. ठीक है, it's the home stretch वैसे. It's the home stretch now. So let's copy this. Let's paste it here. Okay, now 4 minus 4c means 16. 16 minus 32c plus 16c square. Okay, so don't forget that there's a bracket over here. 4 times 5 is equal to 20. So minus 20 minus 4 into c minus 3. यहाँ काम करते हैं. Let's first expand this. ठीक है, इसको हम पहले expand कर लेते हैं. So this will be minus 4 as it is. 5 into c square minus, let me see, अगर हम इसको कोई shortcut use कर सकते हैं. I don't think there is a shortcut that we can use here. No. So c square minus 6c plus 9. Okay, don't forget the minus 4. So this becomes c. Just a second, let me make sure कि मैंने कोई error तो नहीं कर दिया. 4ac. चलो एक काम करते हैं. Let's make life easy and let's multiply 4 and 5 and write it as 20. ठीक है, इसको हम expand कर चुके थे. So let's rewrite this. 16 minus 32c plus 16c square. Yeah, let's write it like this. So 16 minus 32c plus 16c square minus 20. Open the bracket. So you have c square minus 6c, 9 minus 4, that's equal to 5. Now let's simplify once again. Don't forget that this is equal to 0. So 16 minus 32c plus 16c square. In the end, remind me to go over the examiner report of this. We'll find something interesting. Minus 20c square plus 120c minus 100 is equals to 0. So let's see what's the equation that we end up with. 16c square minus 20c square, that's minus 4c square. So we've dealt with this. Minus 32 plus 120. So minus 32 plus 120, that is equal to 88. So plus 88c. So we've dealt with this, 16 minus 100. So 16 minus 100, that's minus 84, equals to 0. Okay, maza aa raha hai? Now let's divide the entire equation by minus 4 and then we will do middle term breaking. So we have c square minus 11c plus 21 is equals to 0. So factors of 21 that leave you with minus 11, that's going to be minus 7 and minus 4, sorry, 22. 22. Okay, so factors of 21 that leave you with minus 22, that's 21 and 1. So c square minus 21c minus c plus 21 equals to 0. Take c common, so that's c minus 21. Take minus 1 common, so that's c minus 21 also. So c is equals to 1 or c is equals to 21. And finally, let's write down the equation minus 2x plus 1 or y is equals to minus 2x plus 21. ठीक है, अब देखते हैं इसकी marking scheme. Let's see if this is the correct answer. And then we'll see if there's an easier way to it also. What question number was this? This was question number 22. Question number 22. Okay, here we are. So, अच्छा, एक तो है, देखो, one thing that you guys cannot use, by the way, is implicit differentiation. Okay, so this is basically a concept that's taught in P3, so you guys can't use it. I mean, those of you who have P3 can use it. Those of you who don't, they obviously can't use that. Okay. So first, let's check the answers. So we got C as 21 and 1. Yeah, so our answer is correct. So that's good news. So then if you look at the method, then this is the method. Except that they didn't bother to do all the working in detail, but when we did it, obviously it's lengthy, so there's no... This is one of the two methods. So they've done another method also. Coordinates of the points which tangent meets the curve. Okay, so they have done the vectors approach. Okay, so once again, you could use the vectors approach, but I don't know vectors if it will occur to you. Acha, also, I heard someone say earlier that isn't vectors out of the syllabus. So vectors is out of the syllabus, but O-level math vectors you guys can still use. Okay. O-level math vectors you guys can still use. अच्छा मैं आप लोगों को बता देता हूँ जो shorter way की आप लोग बात कर रहे हैं ना, I'm aware of the shorter way. ठीक है, I'll tell you how you can work it. So basically, what's the radius of this circle? The radius of this circle is 20. ठीक है, अब आप एक काम ये कर सकते हैं. Once you have found out this point, so there's an alternative way we can find. Yeah, so हम उसको फिर rotate कर सकते हैं. Yeah, we'll read the examiner report also. Okay, we'll read the examiner report also. So you can find out the coordinates of P. How? You can find out the coordinates of P by basically plugging in. Okay, let me see how you can find out the coordinates of P. Yeah, so you can plug in the value of A here. What's that? That's A is equals to 4. Okay, and you can find out the coordinates of P. Okay. So P के coordinates जब आप निकालेंगे, मैं काम करता हूँ, I'll just take it from the marking scheme to save some time. P के जो coordinates होंगे, वो होंगे, just a minute. Just a minute. Coordinates at which the tangent meets the curve is 4. ठीक है, हमें कहीं पे P के coordinates नहीं दिए हुए, but चलो हम P के coordinates निकाल लेते हैं. So let's plug in A as 4. Okay, so once you plug in A as 4, you can find out the coordinates of P. So that's 5 upon 4x square plus x, and if you plug in A as 4, so 2 times 4 is 8. 3 minus 8, that's minus 5x. So minus 5x plus 16 minus 11, that's equal to 5, equals to 0. Okay, so I'll solve this simultaneously. Oh, sorry, I'll solve this quadratic equation. And we'll have the x coordinate of P, that's 2. To find out the y coordinate, simply plug this in into the equation of the tangent. So 2 times half, that's 1. 1 plus 6, that's equal to 7. ठीक है, अब ये आ गए P के coordinates. Okay, these are the coordinates of P. Okay, so P has coordinates 2, 7. Now the alternative method is this. In the alternative method, you will have to use, you know what's the concept that you will have to use? The concept that you will have to use is basically the concept of rotation. Okay, आप rotation वाला concept use कर सकते हैं. So this is a point from the center and we have to rotate it 90 degrees because the angle formed in between will be a 90-degree angle. ठीक है, so you can rotate this 90 degrees. मैं आप लोगों को करके दिखा देता हूँ. So when you rotate it 90 degrees, first let's see how we have to move from the center to point P. So we have to go 2 units to the left and we have to go 4 units up. If you rotate this 90 degrees, that means you will now have to go 2 units up and 4 units to the right. So 2 units up and 4 units to the right. So from the center, if you move 2 units up, so the y coordinate will now be 5. And if you move 4 units towards the right, the x coordinate will be 8. Okay? And once you have this and you have this, you can use the midpoint to find out the other point. And you will use this point to find the equation of the tangent. ठीक है, मैं दोबारा करके दिखाता हूँ. So tangent की equation जो थी वो थी y equals to minus 2x plus c. ठीक है, और c के जो coordinates जो एक point आ गया हमारे पास वो है 5. So let's plug it in. 5 is equals to minus 2 times 8 plus c. So 5 is equals to minus 16 plus c. c is equals to 21 and you get the exact same equation. Y equals to minus 2x plus 21. ठीक है, अब ये method कहने को तो आसान है. ओके, वालेकुम सलाम. ये मेथड कहने को तो आसान है लेकिन एग्ज़ाम में आप ये फिगर आउट कर पाओगे या नहीं, दैट्स द रियल क्वेश्चन. ओके, सो दिस पॉइंट नीड्स टू बी रोटेटेड 90 degrees and you will have the point of tangency. So that's what you have to basically ask yourself, that will you be able to figure this out in the exam. So let's read the examiner report. Let's read the examiner report और फिर हम end करते हैं. S23ER. Here we are. Okay, which question number was this? This was... अच्छा, by the way, इस पेपर का threshold भी काफ़ी low था. Here, so I think I probably solved this with my class. Part C proved to be much more challenging. 43% of the candidates omitted it completely, and many others just repeated some of their work from Part B. Successful responses tended to either replace y in the original equation of the circle with y equals to minus 2x plus c and follow a similar approach to Part A, or found the equation of the diameter parallel to the tangent and then points where this intersected the circle. So 43% just left this entirely. So that means कि जो remaining कितने हो गए? Remaining 57%. अब remaining 57% में से कितनों ने सही किया होगा ये उन्होंने नहीं बताया. So overall that means it's a difficult question. So how about finding the equation of the circle and intersecting with the equation of the circle to find the point and then find the equation of tangent? You're very welcome to try it out. Okay, you're very well. I'm not saying my method is the best method by any means. You're very welcome to come up with another method and see if you get the correct answer or not. It's not that, okay, it's not that, so figuring out is not the complicated part. The complicated part is the algebra. Okay, so सारे पैसे इसमें algebra के हैं. Sir, आपको लगता है इस दफ़ा मुश्किल आएगा? देखें, that's a difficult question to answer from my position, because if I say कि नहीं बेटा इस दफ़ा तो बहुत आसान आएगा, तो आप लोग कहेंगे oh because सर साद ने कह दिया पेपर आसान आएगा, तो इसका मतलब तो पेपर आसान आएगा, ज़्यादा मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. But if I say इस दफ़ा पेपर बहुत मुश्किल आएगा, then you guys will probably get demotivated. So I really can't say anything कि पेपर कैसा आएगा. So you guys just figure it out. There is no trend. Okay, trend देख के ना, देखा बेटो, trend देख के हम ये ज़रूर analyze कर सकते हैं कि किस topic के ज़्यादा marks हैं, किस topic के कम marks हैं. Okay, ये तो आप ज़रूर analyze कर सकते हो, लेकिन difficulty level of the paper predict करना, I don't think that's possible. Acha, what's that? Recent papers are tougher. But the Feb-March paper was not that tough. Okay, the Feb-March paper I don't think was that tough. So I don't know. Let's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Simple as that. 60 plus score कैसा है? It's a good score, but 65 तक ले जाओ तो और भी अच्छा है. How can I get in contact with you? You can message me on Instagram. Sir, is distance between any two parallel tangents equal to the diameter? Yeah, because if you join the two, okay, it will be equal to the diameter. So yes, it definitely is. P3 inshallah once we're done with P1. After that P3 की streams होंगी. Okay, so let's keep it till here only. I will encourage you guys to solve the remaining questions. In the next class, most likely I will solve a yearly past paper. Okay, a yearly past paper, most likely May, June 2023, paper 12. Okay, so tune into it, tune into the live stream. I'll see you guys inshallah tomorrow. And there will also be a live mock very soon, most likely on on the 29th. Okay, so 29th ko inshallah there will be a live mock also, so tune into that also. Okay, so take care everyone. See you guys. Allah Hafiz.